Hey everybody, welcome back to the Jersey Zone. Today I want to quickly talk about the Utah Hockey Club's jerseys because we've got some new news that is not really all too great, and then also we did see their jerseys on ice with their official inaugural season patch on those jerseys, so I wanted to go over those images and those full uniforms as well. Before I do so though, I want to thank you guys so much for 2,000 subscribers. I really do appreciate it a lot, so if you are new to the channel and you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, I would really do appreciate it, but thank you guys so much for 2,000. It really does mean a lot. Anyways, though, let's talk about the news that came out. It was probably over a week ago now. Honestly, I've been a little bit slow on making this video, but we've just not really had any great news with these Utah jerseys. Of course, at first coming out that they're not going to have any name or any branding in the first season, and then of course the jerseys come out and they're pretty underwhelming, which is, understandable because they don't have any branding, but they're not really all too great. The colors, I think, are still fine, but the actual jersey itself is just really simple, not really a whole lot going on. And then they did not have the jerseys at the draft, which is not something that hasn't happened in the past. I believe it was the Winnipeg Jets in the 2011 draft. They did not have their jerseys, and honestly Utah did something different as well because they did actually have a jersey with a logo on it, or at least their word mark, but they didn't have any striping or anything like that. It was just a all black jersey with the Utah on the front. When the Winnipeg Jets did their draft in 2011, they just had an NHL logo, so it was a little bit different back then, and I do prefer Utah's way of doing it, I will say that. However, I do think it makes it a little bit confusing for the casual fans because I've seen some people on Twitter think that those draft jerseys are their actual jerseys and that's what they're going to wear for the first season when, that's not the case. I do think it was probably for the best though that they did actually go with something with Utah on the front and not just an NHL logo because they've already had, people complaining about them having no branding and everything like that. So at least they had something and it wasn't just an NHL shield. I think it's probably the better option, but obviously it's still not a great one. But the news that we got is that the actual Utah jerseys are not going to be available to purchase until at least January of 2025, maybe even February. So first couple months of the season, no fans are going to be able to get those Utah jerseys, and the stands are going to look really weird. It's not going to be great, man. Like I have seen that they have sold some like hoodies as well as t-shirts with, the players' names on the back, like Keller, and I think I've seen Logan Cooley as well. So it's not like the fans aren't going to have any merchandise to support the team. It's not like they're going to be wearing suits and ties like they did in the olden days or anything like that. They will still have something to show support for the team, but it's not great. It really is not. You can kind of throw the blame around everywhere, honestly. I know a lot of people are going to be blaming Fanatics for this. I think the NHL should shoulder some of that blame, but also it's kind of out of their hands as well because it does take a while to actually, get a jersey made and everything like that. It's not something that you can just quickly turn around in a couple of months. I think a lot of people just assume that, and honestly, without thinking about it beforehand, I would probably say that I did think that as well. But, it's understandable that it does take a while to make a jersey. I mean, for example, the Anaheim Ducks 30th anniversary jersey, that wasn't available until January or February of the previous season, and they had time to plan for that. Like, Anaheim knew their upcoming 30th anniversary, they were probably ready for it, and they still had to wait until January to actually get those jerseys available to the fans. And with Utah here, it's a lot shorter of a timeline. The moving date was announced April 19th, so they basically had a 9-month turnaround when January comes around to actually realize that the team was moving, design the jerseys, get those all ready, and then actually have them made as well. And that is on top of the fact that with Fanatics, they are dealing with having to also kind of get ready for all of the other 31 teams as well. So it is a lot. I sort of get it, but also like, I'm trying to be a little bit nice about this, but it still sucks a lot. Like, I still am super disappointed. It is not great news that we're not going to have any Utah jerseys until January. The nice thing about the Anaheim situation, with their 30th anniversary, is that it didn't really matter a whole lot because you have all these other Anaheim Ducks jerseys that you can wear, from the past 30 seasons. So with that situation, it's like, yeah, it's unfortunate, but, it's not like the stands are going to look weird or anything like that. With this situation here, I do think it's a lot worse. It just looks worse for the actual NHL as well, because if a casual fan is turning into a game and they take a look at the crowd in Utah and they see no jerseys whatsoever, they're going to be like, what's going on here? Like, why is that happening? Or they're going to see jerseys from other teams. Like, maybe they'll see a lot of Phoenix and Arizona jerseys. I'm not really quite too sure. It's going to be weird to look at those games on TV. It's going to be very, very strange for sure, especially for fans who actually are going to the game. I think that's probably going to be even weirder. Or maybe I just think that because I love jerseys jerseys so much and I think about them so much that, you know, maybe a casual fan isn't even going to notice that or isn't even going to care. But to me, I feel like it just doesn't come off all too well for the NHL and for Fanatics. And I just kind of feel like that with this whole situation with Utah, where a lot of this stuff just feels a little bit unprofessional. I know it's a very, very short turnaround time, like I talked about earlier, but still at the same time, they really should have been prepared for something. It's not like, you know, the team with Arizona moving, it was sudden, but it's not like it wasn't talked about before. I feel like they should have had some sort of backup plan in place. You know, I think that the NHL, I think with Gary Bettman in particular, yes, he really did want, you know, that Arizona team to stay. He wanted to make it work, but he should have seen something coming. He should have had at least a little bit of a backup plan, in my opinion, at least. So, yeah, it's unfortunate, really, really unfortunate that we're not going to see any jerseys in the stands until at least January. And I'm still undecided if I do want to pick up one of these Utah jerseys because I don't think they look that great. But also at the same time, it would be kind of nice to have just so I don't have to wear Arizona gear when I'm talking about Utah. It feels a little bit strange, but I guess I have till January to think about it. So I guess that's nice at least. Anyways, though, I do also want to talk about the actual gear that they wore on ice. So they did actually show a couple of pictures here. Well, I guess it's technically just one picture of the jerseys and uniforms on ice. And I will say, you know, I like the socks there. The socks obviously matching the same striping pattern as the jersey itself. Outside of that, it is very plain, very boring, which does make sense. Honestly, the only real reason that I did want to talk about it is because of the shoulder patches. You can notice in this picture, they do have shoulder patches on both sides. However, it's not just a regular shoulder patch. That is actually their inaugural season patch, and they have it on both shoulders, which I really, really do like a lot. It's something that I wanted with the Boston Bruins and their 100th anniversary jerseys last season. They only had one shoulder patch on the right shoulder there, and that was just their centennial patch. And I thought it looked so similar to just other shoulder patches that they've had before. Why not duplicate it and put it on the other shoulder? Most people aren't going to notice, and I think it's going to look a lot better. And that's what Utah did here. So we can go ahead and actually take a different look at the shoulder patch. So this is a close-up look of the actual shoulder patch here, and I like it. I think it is fairly nice. Now they have another logo that is actually of like the state outline of Utah that I think honestly looks a little bit better for a shoulder patch. But with this shoulder patch here, I think it looks pretty good. Obviously, you kind of have like the mountains up top, which is cool, and then just the little banner, and then just kind of, you know, the Utah logo that they have right now. So like overall, it's a fine looking inaugural season patch there, but I like the fact that it is on both shoulders. It balances out the jersey a lot better than it only being on the one shoulder there, so I really do like that a lot. The unfortunate part though, with this picture right here, you can tell that it's not stitched on. It's just heat pressed or glued on, and whoever did it didn't do a very good job. Now, I'm fairly certain that it wouldn't be Fanatics. I would think that it was shipped out blank, and it was most likely the equipment manager or whoever was in the back that actually put these inaugural season patches on, and they just, you know, decided to quickly throw them on, I guess. Maybe they didn't have time to stitch it. I'm not really quite too sure, but obviously that really does not look good. It's actually, I'm assuming Fanatics probably is really upset about it because they already get a ton of hate. So this is not good in their eyes to see that and these pictures coming out. So yeah, it's just not a good look. I don't think it's going to be an issue when you actually buy the jersey itself, because I don't think that these jerseys are going to come with the inaugural season patches. I think you will probably have to buy those separately, like you do for pretty much every single other patch, which is maybe the only downside, or at least to myself, that they have two inaugural season patches, is that you'll most likely have to buy two if you do get one of these jerseys. Because yeah, I'm assuming at least that they're not going to come with the patches, because they basically never do. Unless you buy them directly from the team store, then those will probably have the inaugural season patches on them. But with the NHL shop or Fanatics, you know, something like that, I don't think those jerseys will have the inaugural season patches on them. I think you will have to buy those separately. So that is unfortunate. But yeah, I like the patches. It's kind of just bad optics that they did not stitch these ones down. It's just kind of funny to laugh at, I would say. But yeah, that's going to be it for me. I just wanted to quickly talk about these jerseys not coming out until January, as well as the patches. I would love to know your guys' thoughts on both of those things. Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks again for 2,000 subscribers, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.